Hong Kong, Kowloon District, Nathan Road, March 1972. Tuesday afternoon, 2:45 p.m. The street is crowded with the usual chaos of midday Hong Kong. Shoppers carrying bags, merchants calling out prices, the smell of roasted duck and incense mixing in the humid air. Double-decker buses rumble past, their engines loud against the narrow streets. Motorcycles weave between cars. Vendors push carts loaded with vegetables and dried fish. This is Hong Kong at its most alive, at its most indifferent to individual suffering. Nobody pays attention to anyone else. Everyone is moving, focused on their own destination, their own problems, their own lives. That's why nobody notices the elderly woman at first. She's standing near a fruit vendor's stall, clutching her worn canvas shopping bag against her chest. Her name is Mrs. Chen. She's 68 years old. Her hands are gnarled from decades of work as a seamstress. Her back is slightly bent from years of hunching over fabric. She's wearing a simple floral print blouse and dark pants, the kind of clothes that blend into any crowd in any Hong Kong neighborhood. She's trying to walk past three young men who are blocking her path. They're not moving. The three young men are in their early 20s, local troublemakers, the kind who spend their days looking for easy targets. The leader, a thin guy with slicked back hair and a leather jacket despite the heat, has his hand out. His name is Wong. The other two flank him, grinning like this is the most entertaining thing they've done all week. Wong is speaking in Cantonese, his voice loud enough that people nearby can hear but not loud enough to draw real attention. Come on, grandmother, just a few dollars. That's all we're asking. You look like you can spare it. Mrs. Chen shakes her head. Her voice quiet, respectful, trying not to escalate. Please, young man. I don't have anything. Just groceries for my husband. He's sick. Please let me pass. Wong steps closer, invading her space. Your husband is sick? Then you should have money for medicine. Give us the money you were going to spend on medicine. We need it more. One of the others, a stocky guy in a tank top, laughs. Yeah, old people don't need medicine anyway. You've lived long enough. Mrs. Chen's eyes fill with tears, but she doesn't cry. She's from a generation that doesn't show weakness in public. Please, I'm just an old woman. Leave me alone. Wong reaches out and grabs the canvas bag, trying to pull it from her hands. Mrs. Chen holds on, her grip surprisingly strong for someone her age. Let go, grandmother. Don't make this difficult. The bag tears slightly. Some vegetables fall out, rolling onto the dirty sidewalk. A bok choy. 2 tomatoes. Mrs. Chen makes a small sound of distress and bends down to pick them up. Wong pushes her shoulder, not hard enough to knock her down, but enough to make her stumble. Leave them. Just give us the bag. 50 feet away, Bruce Lee is walking down Nathan Road with his assistant, a young man named David. Bruce is dressed casually, dark slacks, a simple button-down shirt, sunglasses. He's been at Golden Harvest Studios all morning, discussing choreography for his next film. He's tired, hungry, looking forward to getting home to Linda and the kids. He's not looking for trouble. He never is. But trouble has a way of finding him anyway. David sees it first. Sifu, look. He gestures toward the commotion near the fruit vendor. Bruce stops walking, removes his sunglasses, and focuses. He sees the three young men surrounding the elderly woman. Sees one of them holding her torn bag, sees her on her knees, trying to gather vegetables from the filthy street while they laugh above her. Something in Bruce's expression changes. Not anger exactly. Something colder. More controlled. Stay here, Bruce says to David. His voice is quiet, but there's steel in it. Sifu, maybe we should call the police, David suggests. Bruce is already walking toward them. His pace is measured, unhurried, but purposeful. People on the crowded sidewalk instinctively move aside, sensing something in his movement, in his energy, that makes them step back. Wong is still laughing when Bruce reaches them. The sound dies in his throat when he feels a presence behind him. He turns and finds himself looking at Bruce Lee. For a moment, Wong doesn't recognize him, just sees a man, smaller than him, standing too close, invading his space the way Wong was invading Mrs. Chen's moments ago. What do you want? Wong asks, trying to sound tough, trying to maintain control of the situation. Bruce doesn't answer. He looks past Wong to Mrs. Chen, who is still on her knees, clutching her vegetables. Are you hurt, ma'am? Bruce asks in Cantonese. His voice is gentle, concerned. Mrs. Chen looks up, surprised that someone stopped to help. She shakes her head. No, I'm not hurt, just scared. Bruce nods, then turns his attention back to Wong. You three need to leave now. Wong's face flushes. He's being challenged in front of his friends, in front of witnesses. He can't back down now. Who are you to tell me what to do? Wong steps closer to Bruce, trying to use his height advantage. He's maybe 2 inches taller, trying to loom over Bruce, trying to intimidate. I'm asking you nicely, Bruce says, his voice still calm. Leave this woman alone and go. The stocky one in the tank top speaks up. You think you're some kind of hero? This is none of your business. I'm making it my business, Bruce replies. The third young man, who's been quiet until now, squints at Bruce. Something clicks in his memory. Wait, aren't you that actor? The kung fu guy from the movies? Wong's eyes narrow, studying Bruce's face more carefully. Recognition dawns slowly. The Green Hornet, the third guy continues. You played Kato. You're Bruce Lee. Wong's expression shifts from confusion to contempt. An actor. You're an actor playing tough guy. He laughs, but it sounds forced. Movie fighting isn't real fighting, friend. This is the real world. Bruce doesn't react to the provocation. Last chance. Walk away. Wong makes his decision. He's not backing down from a movie star. Not in front of his friends. Not in front of all these people. Make me, Wong says. It's the last thing he says before the world tilts sideways. Bruce moves. The movement is so fast that most of the witnesses will later disagree about what they actually saw. His right hand shoots out, grabs Wong's wrist with precision, and twists. Not violently, not with visible effort. Just a rotation of the wrist, a shift of angle that sends Wong's entire body off balance. Wong's eyes go wide. He tries to pull away, tries to use his strength, but it's like trying to pull away from a mechanical vice. Bruce's grip is absolute. Then Bruce steps forward, his left hand rising to Wong's elbow, and suddenly Wong is airborne. The throw is clean, textbook, beautiful in its efficiency. Wong leaves the ground, rotates through the air, and lands flat on his back on the sidewalk with a sound that makes everyone within 20 feet stop and stare. The impact drives the air from Wong's lungs. He lies there, gasping, trying to understand what just happened. The entire sequence from Bruce's first movement to Wong hitting the ground takes less than 2 seconds. The stocky one in the tank top freezes, his eyes fixed on Wong on the ground. His friend, the one who recognized Bruce, takes a small step backward. Bruce releases Wong's wrist and steps back, giving him space. His expression hasn't changed. No anger, no triumph, just calm attention. Wong rolls onto his side, coughing, trying to breathe. His leather jacket is scuffed from the pavement. His pride is damaged worse than his body. Stay down, Bruce says quietly. Wong doesn't listen. Humiliation and anger override common sense. He pushes himself to his feet, breathing hard, face red. You got lucky, Wong gasps. That was a trick. Try that again. Bruce's expression doesn't change. I don't want to hurt you. Too late for that, Wong snarls. He launches himself forward, throwing a wide, looping punch aimed at Bruce's face. It's the kind of punch that works in street fights against untrained opponents. Haymaker. All power, no technique. Bruce isn't there when the punch arrives. He's moved offline, a minimal shift of his body, just enough. Wong's fist passes through empty space where Bruce's head was a fraction of a second before. Bruce's counter is instantaneous, a straight punch to Wong's solar plexus. Not full power. If Bruce used full power, Wong would be in the hospital. This is controlled, measured, just enough to make the point. Wong's forward momentum stops like he ran into a wall. His eyes bulge. The air explodes from his lungs for the second time in 30 seconds. He doubles over, arms wrapped around his midsection, making sounds like a drowning man. The stocky one finally moves. He's bigger than Wong, heavier, more muscle. He thinks size matters. He rushes at Bruce from the side, trying to tackle him, trying to use his weight advantage. Bruce sees him coming, doesn't even fully turn. His left leg rises in a side kick that catches the stocky one in the hip. Not the knee. Bruce could have destroyed the knee, could have ended his ability to walk normally. Instead, he targets the hip, using just enough force to stop the charge. The stocky one's legs tangle. His momentum carries him forward, but his balance is gone. He crashes into a display of oranges outside the fruit vendor's stall. Oranges explode everywhere, rolling across the sidewalk. The vendor shouts in protest but doesn't intervene. The third young man, the one who recognized Bruce first, holds his hands up in surrender. I'm out. I'm not fighting you. We're done. Bruce nods. Smart. Wong is on his knees now, still trying to breathe. The stocky one is sitting amid the oranges, holding his hip, deciding whether to try again. Bruce makes the decision for him. If you stand up to fight, I will put you down harder. If you stand up to leave, we're finished here. Your choice. The stocky one stays sitting. Chooses wisely. Bruce turns his attention back to Mrs. Chen, who has been watching everything from where she knelt, her vegetables still scattered around her. He walks over to her, his movement slow and non-threatening, and extends his hand. "Let me help you up, ma'am." Mrs. Chen takes his hand, her grip trembling slightly. Bruce helps her to her feet with gentle care. The same hands that just dismantled 3 men now showing absolute tenderness. "Are you sure you're not hurt?" Bruce asks again. No, Mrs. Chen says, her voice shaky but grateful. "I'm fine, thank you. Thank you so much." Bruce bends down and starts gathering her vegetables. The bok choy, the tomatoes, a couple of carrots that had rolled under the fruit stand. David, Bruce's assistant, has crossed the street now and joins in, helping collect the scattered groceries. The torn canvas bag is beyond repair, so David runs to a nearby shop and returns with a new plastic bag. They carefully place all of Mrs. Chen's groceries inside. The fruit vendor, an older man who witnessed everything, adds 3 fresh oranges to the bag without asking for payment. "For standing up to those punks," he says to Bruce. "They've been terrorizing this block for weeks. Police don't do anything." Bruce accepts the oranges and places them in Mrs. Chen's bag. "Thank you," he says to the vendor, then turns back to Mrs. Chen. "Where do you live? We'll walk you home." Mrs. Chen protests weakly. "Oh no, you don't have to do that. You've done so much already. I don't want to be a burden." "It's no burden," Bruce says simply. "Those 3 might have friends. I want to make sure you get home safely." They walk together through the crowded Hong Kong streets. Bruce on one side of Mrs. Chen, David on the other, moving at her pace. She lives 6 blocks away, in a narrow apartment building squeezed between a pharmacy and a noodle shop. The stairs are steep and Mrs. Chen climbs them slowly, one hand on the railing. Bruce carries her bag of groceries. At the 3rd floor, she stops in front of a weathered wooden door. "This is me," she says. She fumbles in her pocket for her keys, her hands still shaking slightly from the adrenaline. "My husband is inside. He's bedridden. Lung disease from working in the factories for 40 years. Bruce waits patiently while she unlocks the door. The apartment is small, maybe 400 square feet total, clean but worn, furniture from decades ago, photos on the walls of a younger Mrs. Chen and a man who must be her husband. Children in school uniforms, grandchildren. An elderly man lies in a bed near the window, an oxygen tank beside him. He looks up as they enter, confusion crossing his face. "Who is this?" he asks in Cantonese, his voice weak. "This man helped me," Mrs. Chen explains. "Some young men tried to rob me on Nathan Road. This man stopped them." Her husband's eyes move to Bruce, studying him. "You look familiar." "He's an actor," Mrs. Chen says. "From the movies." Bruce sets the groceries on the small kitchen counter. "Just wanted to make sure she got home safely, sir." The husband nods slowly. "Thank you." Not many people would stop to help an old woman these days. Everyone is too busy, too scared. "It wasn't right what they were doing," Bruce says simply. Mrs. Chen is putting away her groceries, moving around the tiny kitchen with practiced efficiency. "Can I make you tea?" she asks. "Please, it's the least I can do." Bruce checks his watch. Linda is expecting him home, but he can spare a few minutes. "Tea would be nice. Thank you." They sit in the small living area, Mrs. Chen serving tea in mismatched cups. Her hands are steadier now. The apartment smells like ginger and old paper. "Those boys," Mrs. Chen's husband says, "they're everywhere now. The police don't care about people like us. We're too old, too poor. We don't matter." "You matter," Bruce says. He means it. Mrs. Chen sits down, her own cup of tea trembling slightly in her hands. "When I was young, people respected their elders. Now these young people, they see us as targets. Weak. Easy. They learned today that you're not as easy as they thought," David says with a slight smile. Mrs. Chen allows herself a small laugh. "I wasn't easy. Mr. Lee was easy for them. Or difficult, I suppose, depending on how you look at it." Bruce sips his tea. It's strong, bitter, the way older Chinese people prefer it. "Have they bothered you before? Those 3? Mrs. Chen exchanges a glance with her husband. "Different young men, but yes. Last month, someone took my purse right off my shoulder, ran away before I could even shout. I had $200 in there, money for my husband's medicine." "Did you report it?" Bruce asks. "To who? The police?" "They took a report and I never heard anything again. The money was gone. We had to borrow from my daughter." Her voice carries resignation, The acceptance of someone who has learned that justice is not always available to people like her. Bruce is quiet for a moment, thinking. Then he reaches into his pocket and pulls out his wallet. Mrs. Chen immediately raises her hands. No, I didn't tell you that story to ask for money. Please. I know you didn't, Bruce says. He pulls out several bills, 500 Hong Kong dollars, and sets them on the table between them. But your husband needs medicine. Consider it payment for the tea. That's too much for tea, Mrs. Chen protests. Then consider it a loan. Pay me back whenever you can. Bruce stands, knowing that if he stays longer, she'll keep arguing. David stands as well, reading the cue. Thank you for the tea, Mrs. Chen. Take care of yourself. Mrs. Chen follows them to the door, the money still on the table where Bruce left it. Thank you, she says, her voice thick with emotion. Thank you for everything. You didn't have to stop. You didn't have to help. But you did. Bruce pauses at the door. My mother is about your age. I'd want someone to help her if she needed it. They leave the apartment building and walk back toward Nathan Road where David's car is parked. The streets are even more crowded now, the afternoon rush beginning. That was kind what you did, David says. Giving them that money. Bruce shrugs. They needed it more than I do. They walk in silence for a block. Then David asks, Do you think those three learned their lesson? One of them definitely did, Bruce says, thinking about Wong's face when he hit the ground. The one who didn't fight learned the most. He was smart enough to back down. And the other one, the stocky one? He'll think twice before attacking someone from behind again. Whether he stops being a punk entirely, that's up to him. They reach the car. David unlocks it and they climb in. As David starts the engine, Bruce looks out the window at the crowded Hong Kong street. Thousands of people moving past each other, each carrying their own burdens, their own struggles. You know what bothers me most? Bruce says. David waits. That it took someone like me being there for those punks to stop. Mrs. Chen was surrounded by hundreds of people. Everyone saw what was happening. Nobody stopped. People are scared, David offers. Or they're scared of getting involved. Bruce nods. I understand that. But we can't just look away when someone needs help. If everyone looks away, what kind of world do we create? They drive through the Hong Kong traffic, making slow progress. Bruce is thinking about Mrs. Chen, about her husband in that small apartment, about the $200 that was stolen from them, about how vulnerable they are, how many people like them exist in every city, in every country, people who work their entire lives and now find themselves targets because they're old, because they're weak, because they can't fight back. Stop the car, Bruce says suddenly. David looks at him in surprise. Here? We're in the middle of traffic. Pull over when you can. I need to make a call. David manages to pull into a loading zone. Bruce gets out and finds a payphone on the corner. He digs in his pocket for coins and dials a number he knows by memory. The phone rings 3 times before someone answers. Wong's Martial Arts Academy. It's Master Wong, an old friend, a teacher who runs a school in Kowloon. Master Wong, it's Bruce. Bruce, good to hear from you. What can I do for you? I need a favor. Actually, it's more of a request. Bruce explains what happened on Nathan Road, describes the 3 young men, asks if Master Wong knows them or knows of them. Master Wong listens quietly, then sighs. I know the type. Probably students who dropped out of legitimate schools. Now they think they're tough because they can push around people weaker than them. Can you put the word out? Bruce asks. Let the schools know what happened. Let them know these 3 are giving martial artists a bad name. Of course. The community should know. We police our own. Thank you, Master. No. Thank you for stopping them. Martial arts should be about protecting people, not preying on them. You honored the art today, Bruce. They say goodbye and Bruce hangs up. He stands there for a moment, watching the Hong Kong traffic flow past, thinking about honor, about responsibility, about the gap between who we claim to be and who we actually are when tested. He gets back in the car. Everything okay? David asks. Everything's fine. Let's go home. 3 weeks later, Bruce is back at Golden Harvest Studios, working on choreography for Enter the Dragon. It's late afternoon, the set is hot, and he's been drilling the same sequence for 2 hours with his stunt team. His shirt is soaked with sweat, his muscles aching from repetition. But the sequence still isn't right. He's about to call for another take when one of the studio assistants approaches. "Mr. Lee, there's someone here to see you. Says it's important." Bruce wipes his face with a towel. "I'm in the middle of something. Can it wait?" He says it's about an incident on Nathan Road 3 weeks ago. Bruce's attention sharpens. He nods to the stunt coordinator. "Take 15 minutes. Get some water." He follows the assistant to one of the smaller meeting rooms off the main soundstage. Inside, standing awkwardly near the door, is the third young man from that day. The one who backed down, who didn't fight, who was smart enough to surrender. He looks different now. Cleaner. His hair is combed. He's wearing a simple collared shirt and slacks instead of street clothes. His hands are clasped in front of him, nervous energy radiating from his posture. Bruce closes the door behind him. "You remember me?" the young man asks. His voice is quiet, respectful. "I remember," Bruce says. He doesn't sit, doesn't put the young man at ease yet. He wants to see what this is about first. "My name is Chen Ho," the young man says. "I was there that day with Wong and Fatty, when you stopped us from robbing that old woman." "I remember," Bruce repeats. Chen Ho takes a breath, working up courage. "I came to apologize, and to thank you." Bruce raises an eyebrow. "Thank me? For not fighting me, for letting me walk away." Chen Ho's voice is sincere, carrying the weight of genuine reflection. "I've been thinking about that day every day since it happened. About what we were doing. About who we were." "And who were you?" Bruce asks. "Punks, bullies, cowards picking on someone who couldn't defend herself." Chen Ho's shame is visible in his face. "My grandmother is the same age as that woman. If someone did to her what we were doing, I'd want to kill them. But that day, I was the person doing it to someone else's grandmother." Bruce is quiet, watching, evaluating. "Wong is in the hospital," Chen Ho continues. "Not from what you did to him, though he was sore for a week. He got into another fight 5 days after Nathan Road, tried to rob someone else. Turned out the guy knew Muay Thai. Wong has a broken jaw, 3 broken ribs, and he lost 2 teeth. He'll be eating through a straw for 2 months." "And Fatty?" Bruce asks, referring to the stocky one. "Fatty is still being Fatty. Still looking for easy targets, still acting tough. I don't hang around him anymore." "Why not?" "Because I don't want to be that person anymore. The person who hurts people weaker than me. The person who takes instead of earns. The person who ended up on that street that day." Chen Ho meets Bruce's eyes. "You could have fought me. You could have put me down like you did Wong. But you let me choose. You gave me the chance to walk away. That choice has been in my head for 3 weeks." Bruce's expression softens slightly. "What are you doing now?" "I got a job. Warehouse work, loading trucks. It's hard. It doesn't pay much, but it's honest. And I started training." "Training?" "Kung Fu, at Master Wong's academy in Kowloon. I went there the day after Nathan Road happened. Told Master Wong what I'd done. Told him I wanted to change. Wanted to learn the right way to be strong. He made me clean the school for 2 weeks before he'd let me train. Mop floors, clean toilets, scrub mats. Said I needed to learn humility before I could learn fighting." Bruce smiles slightly. "Master Wong is a wise teacher. He told me you called him, that you warned the martial arts community about us. That's part of why I couldn't find another school that would take me. They all knew what I'd done. Master Wong was the only one willing to give me a chance, and only because you asked him to keep an eye out for people trying to change." Chen Ho pauses. "I came here to thank you for that. For not just beating us and walking away. For caring enough to make sure we couldn't keep doing what we were doing." "What about Wong?" Bruce asks. "Will he change?" Chen Ho shakes his head. "Wong blames you for everything. Says you embarrassed him, ruined his reputation. He tells everyone who'll listen that you got lucky, that in a real fight he would win. He's learned nothing." "And when he gets out of the hospital?" "I don't know. I hope he finds a different path, but I don't think he will. Some people only learn from consequences. Wong keeps refusing to learn." Bruce walks to the window, looking out at the studio lot. "I meet a lot of people like Wong. Men who think strength is about dominating others, about taking what they want, about making people afraid. They never understand that real strength is protecting people weaker than you, not preying on them." "Master Wong says the same thing," Chen Ho says. "He says martial arts without character is just violence with technique." Bruce turns back to face him. How's your training going? I'm terrible, Chen Ho admits with a small laugh. I have no flexibility, no patience, no discipline. Master Wang says I'm the worst student he's had in 5 years. But I'm showing up every day, I'm trying. That's all anyone can ask, Bruce says. Keep showing up, keep trying. The skill will come. Chen Ho nods. Then he reaches into his pocket and pulls out an envelope. This is for you. Or rather, for that woman. Mrs. Chen. I don't know where she lives, but I thought maybe you could give this to her. Bruce takes the envelope. It's not sealed. Inside is 200 Hong Kong dollars. That's not how much we would have taken from her that day, Chen Ho says. We probably would have gotten maybe $30 or $40 from her bag. But I heard from Master Wang that someone stole $200 from her last month. I've been saving from my warehouse job. It took 3 weeks, but I wanted to pay back what people like me have taken from people like her. Bruce looks at the money, then at Chen Ho. Something in his assessment of this young man shifts. You didn't have to do this. Yes, I did. I can't undo what I've done. Can't take back the fear I put in that woman's heart. But I can try to make things a little bit better. Try to balance the scales even just a tiny bit. Bruce puts the envelope in his pocket. I'll make sure she gets this. Thank you. Chen Ho bows slightly, a formal gesture of respect. And thank you for that day, for showing me that there was another way to be, for not giving up on me before I even had a chance to give up on myself. Don't thank me yet, Bruce says. The real work is ahead of you. Changing is hard. Being consistent is harder. Anyone can decide to be better for a day, for a week. The question is whether you can be better for a year, for 10 years, for the rest of your life. I'm going to try, Chen Ho says simply. They shake hands and Chen Ho leaves. Bruce stands in the meeting room for a few minutes, thinking about the envelope in his pocket, about the journey from being a punk on Nathan Road to being someone who saves money to repay debts he didn't personally create. About the difference between Wang, who learned nothing, and Chen Ho, who learned everything. The next day, Bruce returns to Mrs. Chen's apartment building. He climbs the 3 flights of stairs and knocks on the weathered wooden door. Mrs. Chen opens it, her face lighting up with recognition. Mr. Lee, what a surprise. Please come in. Bruce enters the small apartment. Mr. Chen is in the same bed by the window, looking slightly better than last time, some color in his face. I can't stay long, Bruce says. But I wanted to give you something. He hands her the envelope. Mrs. Chen opens it, sees the money, and her eyes widen. What is this? One of the young men from that day came to see me. The one who didn't fight. He's been saving his wages to pay you back for what was stolen from you last month. Mrs. Chen's hands tremble as she holds the envelope. But he didn't steal from me. That was someone else. He knows. But he said people like him have been taking from people like you. He wanted to balance the scales. Tears form in Mrs. Chen's eyes. The world is changing, she whispers. I thought it was only getting worse. But maybe there's still hope. There's always hope, Bruce says. As long as people are willing to change, willing to do better, willing to take responsibility for the harm they've caused, and try to repair it. Mrs. Chen insists on making tea again. And this time Bruce stays for 20 minutes. They talk about her grandchildren, about Mr. Chen's improving health, about the neighborhood. When Bruce finally leaves, Mrs. Chen walks him to the door. You know, she says, my grandson asked me what happened that day on Nathan Road. I told him that a movie star saved his grandmother. But that's not quite right, is it? No? Bruce asks. No. A good man saved his grandmother. The fact that you're a movie star is just coincidence. What mattered is that you're someone who stops when someone needs help. Someone who cares about strangers. Someone who sees an old woman being bullied and decides that's not acceptable. She pauses, choosing her words carefully. My grandson said he wants to be like you when he grows up. I told him he should. Not because you're famous, but because you're good. That's what the world needs more of. Good people who do the right thing even when it's inconvenient, even when it's risky, even when no one is watching. Bruce doesn't know what to say to that. He's never been comfortable with praise, with being held up as an example. Just teach him to be kind, Bruce finally says. Teach him to stand up for people who can't stand up for themselves. That's all any of us can do. He walks back down the 3 flights of stairs, out onto the Hong Kong street. The same crowds, the same chaos, the same indifference. But somewhere in this city, a young man is mopping floors at a martial arts academy. learning humility before he learns to fight. Somewhere, an elderly couple has $200 they didn't have yesterday. Somewhere, a grandmother is telling her grandson about the importance of being good, not just being strong. 4 seconds, that's how long it took on Nathan Road. 4 seconds from the first movement to Wong hitting the pavement. 4 seconds to stop 3 young men from robbing an elderly woman. But the ripples from those 4 seconds are still spreading, still touching lives, still changing the trajectory of who people choose to become. Bruce Lee walks through the crowded Hong Kong streets, just another man in the flow of humanity, and thinks about how the smallest actions can echo in ways we never anticipate, how stopping to help can change not just one life, but many, how 4 seconds of doing the right thing can matter for weeks, months, years afterward. The street fell silent that day for 4 seconds, but the lesson echoed far longer. And somewhere in Hong Kong, it's still echoing now.